Good morning. So the theme that ran through the readings, the obvious, to me at least, humility. And humility, of course, has been talked about by the Old Testament prophets, certainly by Christ himself, by the apostles. So one might say, why does God want me to be weak? Humility is anything but weak. Humility is great strength because in humility we really know who we are. And we really know that the gifts and the talents and the skills that we have were planted in us by God. And then we develop those talents along with Him and then share those with others. Humility is not weakness. Christ has humility. Is He weak? No, I don't think so. Look at the strength that He has. Look at how the majority of the time when He would talk with the Pharisees, He's kind of right up in their face. But He wasn't in their face about, look at me. He loved them and knew that that was a way to get their attention, to try to get them to think about who am I really and what is my relationship with God. Father Larry Richards, who is a priest of the Diocese of Erie, Pennsylvania, and you hear a lot on Spirit Catholic Radio, he has that attribute of Christ. He will take the proverbial 2x4 when you're listening on the radio and whack me upside the head so that I get the message. So humility, he talked about humility because in this passage, this is what he felt they needed to talk about humility. But sometimes it's hard to get a handle on that. It's hard to get a handle on soft words. So another way to look at it is to use, what's the opposite of humility? Pride. Pride. Pride, one of the 7 deadly sins. Why? Well, I've talked about pride probably a year ago in a homily. I said pride is thinking about yourself rather than others, thinking about yourself rather than God. It's all about me, me, me. And we don't have to go very far to get an example of that, do we? Turn on the TV with all the things going on in politics, and I don't care, Republican, Democrat, Independent. It's all about me, and look how great I am, and follow me, and do things for me. And in fact, if they can't come up with the stuff that's so great about themselves, they put the other down so that they look good. Pride. Another word for pride, ego. Pumping up the ego. And what does ego stand for? If you happened to hear me a year ago, ego is edging God out. Pride is about us, but our life is to be about God and bringing Him into the world. Yeah. So that's the dangers. So what might humility, other than the politician showing us what pride is, what might humility look like? I had an example given to me by a 9-year-old girl about 31 years ago. Pretty powerful if it's seared into my memory. Of course, it was my daughter. Joyce and I have a beautiful daughter, and she was given the gift of high intellect. Very high intellect. Straight A's through grade school, straight A's through high school, straight A's through college. And yet, she developed that intellect because she read a lot, she studied a lot. One day I came home from work. She was there. I said, hey, how was school? She goes, oh, it was good. Oh, we got that test back that we took the other day. I don't remember what class it was. I said, oh, yeah, what happened? Oh, the teacher said as a class, we did not do good. I think she told me the average was like 53%. I thought, oh boy, here it comes. Her first really bad grade. So I said, how did you do? Oh, I got 100. I thought, wow, 100. I said, wow, what'd your friends say? Because I know if that was me, 100, when everybody else, was average, I'd be dancing on the chair, waving my paper. She said, they don't know what I got. I said, they don't? How come? And then I thought, Oh, because they'll tease her. She said, no, when the teacher gave me the paper, I saw the grade and I just turned it over because I didn't want my friends to feel bad. She said, Dad, for some of my friends, school's really hard. Whew. I would have been proud. She was concerned about others. A beautiful example, I think, of knowing who you are, but being humble before others. So some people learn by reading, some people learn by hearing, some people learn by seeing. So I'm going to give you a second example of humility, and I hope it comes back to you on a regular basis when you come here every week or more. It's right here at the stained glass window. Take a look at the very top, and what do you see? The Eucharist. The bread from heaven. Now God is perfectly happy in the love of the Trinity. He doesn't need us. And yet, in his humility, he comes down and feeds us with the bread of heaven. Not so that he would be like us, but so that we have the opportunity to become more like him. And then look at the main part of the picture. Jesus. Greatest act of humility to go from God to becoming man. See, he knew in his divinity that he could not die. And yet, death was what was required so that there would be death to sin. So he humbled himself to come down into our humanity so that he might die for us, so that we would have the opportunity at the end of our lives to be lifted up to him as he was lifted in the resurrection. And where is he looking? He's not there looking in a mirror saying, look how great I am and what I did and what I can do for you. He's looking at the flock. What do they need? This one needs to be carried for a little while. This one needs to be felt safe. This one needs help in getting some of the earthly things that they need. And he cares for those around. Such beauty, such an act of humility, of knowing the strength he has and using that for us. St. Augustine says, when you choose and follow the path of humility, you profess your faith in God. There are two paths, and he loves us so much that he lets us choose. So think today, what path should I choose? Do I choose the easy path? The path that leads us to a place that I don't think we want to go? Or do I choose the narrow path, which includes humility, so that in my lowliness at the end of life, I might be exalted?